once I know now what my protein concentration is and I know what my activity is, now finally I can calculate the specific activity. Because my specific activity is simply the total amount of activity divided by the total amount of protein. Okay. Now, why is that important? Let me show you a simple example with marbles, and then we'll go through one concrete example so you get the idea of it. Suppose that I was trying to purify the red marbles out of a beaker full of other marbles. Well, there are about 105 marbles in here, of which 5 are red. As I purify it, I'm going to try to keep as many of the red marbles as I can and lose as many of the non-red particles as I can. And so now I have those 5 red marbles now distributed only among something like 14 marbles instead of 105. So its relative enrichment for the red molecule has gone up. Let's do this to purify EcoR1, that enzyme that I showed you at the very beginning of the class. If I purify EcoR1, I'm going to take E. coli, and I'm going to take a particular strain of E. coli, and I'm going to purify out of it EcoR1. Okay? And I'm going to start off here then with some kind of a crude lysate. I'm going to measure 3 things. I'm going to measure in each case the activity over the total protein. So maybe I start and I have 10,000 units of activity, right? And I measure my total protein and there's 100 milligrams of protein. So what this means then is that my specific activity, this term, specific activity, is then simply 100 units per milligram. And if I now denote the purification and I'm going to call this the fold purification. The fold purification here is just 1. Okay? Now I do step 2. I do some purification step, step 1. This might be ammonium sulfate cut. Okay, and when I do this, I end up with 7,500 units of activity. Why? Because no purification step is perfect. I lost some of my enzyme purifying it. Just like you know from chemistry, when you try to purify something that you've synthesized, you don't get 100% yield. So I only got 7,500 units back. But I did that in 25 milligrams of protein. So now my specific activity has gone up to 300 units per milligram. The original lysate was 100 units per milligram. Now it's 300 units per milligram. How much purification did I get? 3-fold, right? Well, I told you ammonium sulfate wasn't a great step, so let's add a second step. Okay. Maybe the next step we'll try is ion exchange chromatography. And when I do ion exchange chromatography, I only get back 5,000 units. Boy, I just keep losing this enzyme every time I try to purify it. I'm losing a little more and losing a little more, right? But now I find this 5,000 units turns out to come out in only 2 milligrams of protein because all the protein, right, that wasn't what I wanted, I got rid of by ion exchange chromatography. So this means that now I've got 2,500 units per milligram of protein-specific activity. And I started at 100, so how much purification did I get? 25-fold. Okay. Now I go to step 3 in my purification. Now maybe I use that gel filtration column. Okay? And again, I lose even more of my protein. Now I'm only down to 3,000 units. But look, I got rid of a whole bunch of other protein that wasn't what I wanted. Now I only have 0.1 milligrams of protein. So now my specific activity is 30,000 units per milligram. Okay? And I started at 100 units per milligram. So what's my fold purification now? 300. Okay. Which step worked the best at increasing the fold period. Not which step gave me the biggest net increase, not in fold purification, but compared to the previous step. Well, this enriched it 3-fold, this enriched it about 8-fold, and this enriched it about 12-fold. So I'd say that last step was the winner. That was the one that really gave me the biggest jump by going from 25 to 300-fold purification.